Hello, and welcome to the Fit Over 40 Challenge Show, the number one health and fitness show for those of us in the club. Yes, that's right, the 40 and Over Club. My name is Coach Dave. I'm going to be your coach today and host, and I'm super excited to bring you another episode. And today I have something really good for you, okay? I've got a really neat mini quiz. Yes, that's right. We're going to take a little quiz and we're going to give yourself a checkup and see how well you're really doing with self care. This is all about you. And your answers just might surprise you. Now, before I jump into the quiz, for those of you that don't know me, I am an fitness coach. I coach online and offline, meaning I coach people on the internet and in public, or I guess in person, I should say. And I just help transform and inspire people to really change their life and live a healthy lifestyle. And I do that through my coaching. So if you ever want to check me out, you can. Hopefully, if this is your first time on the podcast, you're going to love it and you can subscribe to it and leave a review, share it with your friends. And if you are a continuous listener, I do appreciate you and I appreciate all the comments and feedback that you give me. And if you have any additional comments or feedbacks, please leave them, anywhere on your social media or contact me. And I'd love to just chat with you. Anyway, so February is all about the heart. I mean, Valentine's Day is just a few days away. Plus, in the US, February happens to also be Heart Awareness Month. Now, heart disease is the number one killer in the United States, and it's also in many other countries. I know we have people listening from all over, so Australia and Europe, it's a big deal. Now, for some of you guys, again, if this is your first time listening, you've heard me tell this story before, but I lost my father. He was 67. He had a massive heart attack. And so the American Heart Association has always been near and dear to me, something that I support, and something that I am always concerned with myself. Obviously, heart disease runs in my family, and so that's something that I don't take lightly. So this is kind of really important to me, and I hope that this quiz that you're going to take and this assessment is going to really help you and see where you're at. Now, here's another stat though that I find that's super shocking. And according to the American Heart Association, about 80% of all cardiovascular disease can be prevented. And again, I go back to my dad, and I go back to a lot of us. This stuff can be prevented. I mean, 80%, that's an amazing stat. And that's why today this assessment is important. Now, again, if you're listening to it, in June or November or whenever, because I know that podcasts can live on, it doesn't matter. You can take the test now. I mean, this is February Heart Health Month, but it's important that you do this assessment because I think it can change your life. So, again, if you're like a lot of people, you're probably cruising along in some areas of your self-care, and sometimes some are better than others, but maybe you need a little improvement in some other areas. So that's what this quiz. So this quiz isn't about being perfect. It's just about taking great care of yourself because you and your heart deserve it. So, are you ready for the quiz? Now, again, if you're driving or if you're running, working out, getting pumped up, this probably is not the time to do the quiz, but you can come back. You can grab a pen and a paper and write down your answers to these questions, okay? So, let's go ahead and get started. The first question: how are you doing in the diet department? Are you eating a healthy, well-balanced diet that includes mostly unprocessed foods? Do you cut back on foods that are high in sugar, which is a big one here, and instead eat a mostly plant-based diet with healthy fats and proteins? Now, take a second to think about what you have eaten over the past week, all the meals, plus any snacks you've eaten. Sometimes it's good if you track your stuff on MyFitnessPal. You can look at that. What grade, though, would you give yourself on this? So here it is. On a scale of 1 to 5, okay, that's what we're doing. We're going 1 to 5. Are there some things you can easily change to boost your grade? Now, let me just back up and tell you how to score. Okay, here's how to keep score. If 20% or of your meals were healthy, give yourself a 1. Okay, 20%. If about 20 to 40% of your meals were healthy, give yourself a 2. So that's 20 to 40%. If about 40 to 60 were healthy, give yourself a 3. If 60 to 80 of your meals were healthy, give yourself a 4. And if 80% or more of your meals were healthy, give yourself a 5. Now remember, this isn't about being perfect. It's just about seeing what you're actually doing on a daily basis. So write down your score, or at least remember it, because you're going to need it a little bit later. Okay, so the second question. Exercise and daily movement. Now, nearly every health organization recommends you get at least 30 minutes of exercise most days of the week for heart health. Again, you can rack up your minutes over the course of a day, or you can get it done all at once. It doesn't matter when it comes to heart health, okay? This could be, again, walking, doing a workout, dancing. Even gardening. We're coming up to the spring, or anything else that keeps you moving. Okay, it's about movement. So here's how you score your activity here. So let's count 20 minutes of intentional exercise. A brisk walk counts as well, okay? So as we said before, so if you've only been active 1 day in the last week, give yourself a 1. If you've been active 2, give yourself a 2. 3, give yourself a 3. 4, give yourself a 4. And then again, if you've been active for 5 or more days in the last week, give yourself a 5. Now, go ahead and write that down. Give yourself a score on a scale of 1 to 5. Pretty simple there for movement. Okay, let's move on. Third, sleep. Yep. Studies show that getting less than 7 hours of sleep a night on a regular basis is linked with all kinds of ailments that are tied to heart disease, like stress, inflammation, high blood pressure, and weight gain. So the question to ask yourself, are you getting enough sleep? If you're not, is there anything you can do to make it happen? Do you need to go to bed earlier or create a nighttime routine? Take some other action. Okay, there's lots of things, and I've talked about this before. It's amazing how much better you feel when you get a great night's sleep. So, to score yourself for each day in the last 7 days, again, if you have an app, I use my iPhone with an app, sleep app. Each day in the last 7 days, you've gotten 7 or more hours of sleep. Give yourself a point, so you can get up to 5 points total. Okay, again, for each day in the last 7 days that you've gotten 7 or more hours of sleep, you give yourself a point, up to 5 points. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, got your number? All right, so how are we doing so far? Are you still with me? Now, we're going to go ahead and get on to the fourth question, which is meditation, prayer, gratitude practice. Okay, so it's a combination of all those. Studies show, again, that these practices can actually help your heart health. I know that kind of sounds crazy, but that's what they're stating. So, do you at least spend a couple minutes a day focused on reducing stress and feeling grateful? And I've talked about this before. Maybe I start my morning with a gratitude journal and try to do some meditation. I've been making that my goal this year. Still not doing great at it, but I'm working on it. So, this can take up a lot of different forms. Again, it can simply be sitting and breathing, praying, taking a walk in nature, or journaling. So, lots of different options here. So here's how you score it. For each day in the last 7 days, when you've done some form of prayer, meditation, or gratitude practice, give yourself a point. Again, you can go up to 5 points. Okay, moving on. Fifth, knowing your numbers. When was the last time you had your blood pressure and cholesterol checked? Some of us have gotten much better, at least with the cholesterol side. Um, I know that for me, I've had to start taking my blood pressure just a little bit more. It's kind of been elevated, so I do that more on a regular basis. But when was the last time that you've done it? Maybe some of you guys are like, I always do it, coach. Well, that's great. Again, this is good for you to know, okay? Especially important if you're over 40. That's us, right? We're in the club. It's definitely worth getting your doctor to do a physical, or you can go into some of those when I'm talking about those clinics and get your blood work done. But give yourself a score. So to score yourself, give yourself a 1 if you have no idea what your numbers are. Okay, so give yourself a 3 if you've had your numbers checked within the last 3 months, and give yourself a 5 if you had your numbers checked in the last 30 days. Now, last but not least, I'm putting it out there, smoking. I know that there's not a lot, well, I say not a lot of people in my circle that smoke, but again, I'm not lecturing you or anything like that because, you already know the deal. If you do smoke, though, I highly encourage you to ask your doctor about help with quitting if you're having problems quitting. There are so many avenues available nowadays to make it a little less challenging, and the payoff is definitely worth it. Okay, um, I just can't stress that enough about smoking. So we're not going to go anything else more than that. But and I know some people do vaping, and I don't even really know much research about that either. But I'm just going to kind of just say if you need some additional guidance, speak with your doctor. There's ways to quit. So there's no gray area here on this one. If you've smoked anything, even a single cigarette in the last 7 days, you give yourself a 0. If you haven't, you give yourself a 5. Okay, so there you go. So we've looked at the areas. Okay, so the areas that we've looked over are nutrition, exercise, sleep, stress reduction. Sorry, I'm having a hard time speaking today. As well as knowing your most recent health stats. So you add up all these scores, and the highest score possible is 30. Now, what number did you get? How did you do? If you scored over 25, that is amazing. Good for you. If you gave your score below 25, chances are you've got an area or two you want to work on to bring your overall numbers up. Remember, it's actually not about passing a quiz, but about feeling healthier, about being more energized, and getting the most out of your days. Again, maybe you're doing amazing with sleep and exercise, but you want to improve in the areas of nutrition or the stress relief, okay, or vice versa. Again, it's nobody's perfect here, okay. So it's time to come up with a plan, though. Find out what it is. That's why we did the assessment. Now we're going to go ahead and come up with a plan. And as I mentioned earlier, this isn't about being perfect, but about coming up with strategies to make self-care an enjoyable part of your lifestyle, as well as taking great care of your heart. Okay, I think that that's so important. And listen, I know sometimes, it's hard to just do this on your own. Again, that's why I'm here for you. If you need additional help, assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out. Okay, I am available, even if you just want to get on a call and just talk to me. Okay, you can just go to fitover40challenge.com/fitness coach and just fill out the form. We'll do a quick call. I'll see how I can point you in the right direction. For those of you that want to work with me one-on-one and really make a difference, I'm there for you as well. And if you want to join a group Fit for Life, it's on Facebook. Okay, the easiest way to do it was because I created this group a long time ago. I called it allabouthealthandfitness.com. And all I got to do is even answer just a couple questions, and you're into the group, and it's an amazing group of people that are there to support and help and encourage. I highly suggest you get around people that are trying to do the things that you want. Have the support system you need. And so with that, that's going to kind of conclude this episode. I hope that this quiz just gave you some insight. Again, it's not about being perfect, but it's about finding out maybe the areas that you need to work on to improve yourself so you can have a really healthy heart and live a healthy lifestyle. Again, I want to thank you for listening, and I appreciate your support more than you know. This is my life's mission to help you, and just by you listening all the way to the end here is definitely paying off. Again, if you know of anybody that needs to hear this, please share it with them, post it on your socials, and I love reading your DMs and all your comments. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. This is Coach Dave. I'll see you on the next episode.